A very good morning to all the fans tuning in. We're back live with the second of the two T20 internationals to be played between Japan and the Cook Islands. I'm Junaid Ahmed and I'll be bringing you all the live action from the very ground. The news out from the center is the Cook Islands have won the toss and have elected to field first. They won the toss the other day and elected to bat first. It was a very exciting contest. And Sabarish Ravichandran was the man who stood between victory and the Cook Islands. It was a brilliant performance from the all-rounder, but it's a different day. It's a very timely start. Had a delayed start the other day. Cook Islands would be hoping that they come out with the ball and put in some brilliant performances in the field. In Japan, this is how they start this game. Kendall Karuaki Fleming back in action today. Ben Ito Davis, Charlie Hara Hinz, Declan Suzuki, Sabarish Ravichandran, Yamamoto, Hargrave Abi, Taniyama Abdul Samad, Sugaya and Miyachi. And for the Cook Islands, Wutai, Dixon, Thomas Parima, Ava Parima, Ravarua, Mara Ave, the skipper, Taylor, Wailoa, James Pickering, the wicketkeeper batsman, Dixon and Liam Denny. And that's the confirmation once again for the viewers who have just tuned in. Cook Islands have won the toss and have elected to field first. A couple of notable inclusions today. Kendall Karawaki Fleming, the regular captain who sat out the first of the two T20 internationals, is back in the lineup. Charlie Hara Hinz as well as Kiefer Yamamoto Lake. Ibrahim has been benched for this fixture. Been playing some regular cricket in the last couple of weeks. Japan as well as the Cook Islands were part of the Tri-Series that concluded a couple of days back. Japan played the final against Thailand. Kendall Fleming was the leading scorer for Japan in that game. And for all the viewers tuning in, do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We do have presence across all the major social media verticals: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, of course. You can follow for all the news and updates from the Japan Cricket Association. Out come the two openers for Japan. It was testing times the other day for the batsmen. Both the sides didn't get off to a very good start. The Cook Islands believed that after losing a couple of wickets, they found themselves in some sort of form. But then towards the back end, couldn't quite find that momentum going. And on the flip side, when Japan came out to bat, we're chasing a modest total of 105, and the first 5 wickets were down for around about 40-45 odd. And then Sabarish Ravichandran's knock off 50 odd, helping his side get over the line. It's all done and dusted. It's another game, a fresh day, a fresh start. And the skipper back in the starting 11. And Japan would be looking for a decent start to the power play. Karawaki Fleming will be facing his opposite number in Mara Ave. Played a good hand of 24. And did pick up a wicket as well. And his contribution will be quite significant from the Cook Islands perspective. We're all set. First ball coming up. Here's Mara Ave to Fleming. A gentle push towards long on for a single, and Japan as well as Kendall Fleming are off the mark here. Koji Hargrave Abbey, the other opener, along with Fleming. And worked it towards the short square. And Koji Abe gets off the mark as well. He lost a wicket in the very first over the other day. Japan want to make sure they get off to a very good start. And one thing you didn't see quite often from both the sides in the first T20I was there weren't enough singles picked up, as there were odd shots played as well to get a boundary or a maximum, but then couldn't quite maneuver those gaps. That is something they might be trying to avoid today. Keep the scoreboard ticking, keep the strike rotating. A touch shorter, helped away towards deep square. Desperate dive there, but couldn't quite prevent that ball from going towards the boundary. So first 4 of the innings for Kendall Fleming. He was asking to be hit free pickings, especially inside the first 6 overs. And Oscar Taylor, the man towards his position at mid-wicket, made that run towards the square leg, deep square leg boundary. In the slot, up in the air, the fielder goes just over him. It's always difficult to track those. And that brings us to the end of the over. A stable start, 8 without loss, Japan, after the end of the first over. So has been dominating the proceedings in both the innings yesterday. And the likes of Ibrahim, Abdul Samad, Ben Davis, everybody chipping in with something or the other. Of course, not to forget Sabarish Ravichandran's brilliant spell of 4 for 16 in his 4. And from the other side as well, Milton, Mara Ave chipping in. And for fast bowlers, didn't play that significant role, but it's a different day. Hayden Dixon with his first over. There goes Hayden. It's wide and well collected behind the stumps, and that is something they'll have to be careful of, because there have been quite a few extras And the other day weren't as disciplined as they would have ideally liked themselves to be. A good start is what Japan would be eyeing for. Don't lose too many in the first 6 and try and get the eyes in. Maybe 45, 50 for a loss of a wicket or 2 at max. An opportunity to set themselves up and really launch towards the back 4 or 5 overs. And trying for an expansive drive towards the offside there. That movement, that swing, taking the ball away from the right-hander. The leading scorer for Japan in the T20 eyes, Kendall Karawaki-Fleming, and scored in excess of 1,400 plus runs. Played school cricket back in Australia, in Queensland, and then made a move to the Japan cricket. The game is catching up thick and fast in this part of the world. Japan with a very good grassroots structure goes under the patronage of the Japan Cricket Association. All the budding talent will be doing wonders in the coming days. A couple of wides in the over so far. No run off the bat. Hartgrave Abbey trying to find his sighters in. Oh, lovely ball. And square him up completely. Trying to be away from the batsman on the first couple of occasions, and then this one holding its line. And bringing it into the right-hander. And cramp for room. It's good stuff. Some tight bowling from Hayden Dixon. And hasn't given anything away except those 2 wides in the over. Doesn't quite time it properly. End of the second over. It's 10 without loss, Japan. And Oscar Taylor with his first over. Has been pretty convincing with his bowling changes in the first game as well. Mara Ave hasn't allowed the batsmen to find themselves in a very comfortable position and against a particular bowler. Has been rotating it quite well. And started the other game with Milton. Unfortunately, Milton, who misses out this one, had to limp off the ground after bowling the very first ball. Hargrave Abbey on strike. Here's Oscar Taylor. And trying to flick it away. And again, not getting the timing right. Something's got to give here. It's only a single off the 8 deliveries he has consumed so far, Hargrave Abbey. Goes up in the air. Is skied in the air, and well judged catch by the skipper. Something had to give. He was taking a lot many deliveries and tries to break his shackles, and that has brought about his downfall. And there you have it. Was in the slot, couldn't quite get the timing right, and well held in the end. He was backtracking, Mara Ave, but kept his eyes on the ball right throughout. So first wicket goes down for Japan with 11 runs on the board. Ben Davis is the new man in. Comes in at the fall of Koji Hargrave Abbey's wicket. Struggling to middle the ball. And the task can be quite clear for Ben. Try and get Fleming on the strike. Try and consolidate the first few overs. He's bowled some tight lines in both the games so far. Oscar Taylor has tried to keep the field up inside the circle. Wants the batsman to go after him. And takes the thickish outside edge. Maybe a bit deliberate as well to try and get it towards the third man region for a single. Gets off the mark, Ben Davis. On the pads, loud shout. No, says the umpire. Hands on heads for Oscar Taylor. And that was very close from the naked eye. That's the end of the over. Wicket taken one for Oscar Taylor. After the end of 3, Japan are 12 for 1. And here's Dixon. Oh, there's a misfield. And that should go all the way to the boundary. I had to stop that. Still didn't get quite of the meat of the bat, but had enough behind that one. Was hit straight, got in an awkward position there. Whether to go with the hand or try and get a boot behind that one. First boundary for Davis. And tucks away towards the fine leg. And again, strain down the leg side. Wide given. Again, watchfully played towards the cover region. It's a decent start from both the sides. Japan being pretty watchful. And Cook Islands on the other side would claim they've sent one opener back in the hut. Had a thrilling game the other day. And this one has all the makings of another exciting contest. A touch shorter. Was lining up for the pull, but the one came sharply inside. And again, from Ben Davis's standpoint, and try and get across, get down to the other end, try and let the captain see bulk of the deliveries, especially in the first 6 overs. Takes the outside edge, and there comes the second one. He's been bowling that probing length, Hayden Dixon, and this one takes something on its way through to the keeper. A regulation catch in the end. And number 2 goes down for Japan. On the front foot. He's got in 2 minds whether to go for the drive or stay back. In the end, neither of the two. It's a very good start. This is turning out to be for Cook Islands now. And Declan Suzuki was the stand-in skipper the other day. He's got a job at hand. One thing surely Japan would need from here on is a decent partnership. Here goes Dixon. And just lets it go through. There's the end of the 4th over. Another wicket-taking one for Cook Islands. Japan are 19 for 2 after the end of the 4th. Oscar Taylor is going to continue from the other end. Picked up the first wicket of Koji Hardgrave Abbey. He's got Fleming on strike now. And trying to work it towards the onside. Struck on the pads. And again, from the Cook Islands point of view, they haven't conceded any looseners, any loose liveries. Been a couple of boundaries so far in the first 4 overs. And other than that, nothing substantial has come from the Japan's batting side. Takes the outside edge. That should run down the hill. Dive in the end from the third man fieldsman. And third boundary for the captain. Again, short and wide. It was there for the cut. In the slot, drives, but got an extra cover fieldsman in there. Couldn't quite pierce that gap. Watchfully played towards the onside. Wanted to scamper across for a quick single, which wasn't there. The last thing they need from their standpoint is a run out. Need to try and take this game deep. Try and bat out a few overs. Beautifully played. Brilliant fielding. Does well to stop it. The fielding has been right up there for both the sides. I've hardly seen any drop catches. The ground fielding has been absolutely superb. Whenever they have a chance, they have created those run-out opportunities. So that's the end of another over. And 25 for to Japan after the end of 5. And Hayden Dixon goes out of the attack and is replaced by Corey Dixon from this end. Goes straight and goes for 4. It's a very good shot from Declan Suzuki. And it's always a beautiful feeling playing the first ball against a new bowler and hitting him down the ground for a 4. And fishing around about the 4th, 5th stump mark. The intent was to try and run it down towards the third man for a single. Doesn't get the connection. Inside the last over of the power play. You don't have to do anything fancy here. Just see the ball, hit the ball. An attempt to try and get a couple of boundaries in the last 3 or 4 deliveries might just bring about the downfall of another wicket. And that is something they cannot afford at this stage of the game. Need a partnership. Try get themselves to around about 10th or 11th over. With wickets in hand, you can always target the back 4 or 5. Oh, knocks him over. A touch slower. Had no idea. You miss, I hit. And Corey Dixon picks up his first. And there you have a look at it again. He's rolled his arm over. And Declan Suzuki had no idea. So he departs. Japan are reduced to 29 for 3. Still got a couple of deliveries left in the power play. Out comes Sabarish Ravichandran. It's a brilliant performance from him. And these two holds absolute gold from Japan's perspective. And one of these two will have to bat through the innings. He nearly did the other day. Sabarish Ravichandran. It was a very well played half century. He faces the first ball from Corey Dixon and comes into the right-hander, pushes it towards the covers. Expect them to rate the strikes and try and keep the scoreboard ticking. A pretty accomplished right-hander in Ravichandran. Again, a back of a hand, a slower ball to end the over. 6 completed. It's 29 for the loss of 3 wickets, Japan. And that's the projected score on the bottom of your screens. 96 is where they'll end up if they continue to go the way they are going at the moment. 113 with 6 in over, 141 with 8 in over, and 169. That's just going to put the game away from Cook Island's reach. They'll have a lot to do if Japan get there. And change in the bowling. Nava Parima comes into the attack. Had a decent game the other day. Was amongst wickets. Scored 16 with the bat. Oh, that's juicy. And put away by Fleming. He's trying to spin the ball into the left-hander. I'd like to believe that just came off the hand. Or slipped rather. It was a juicy full toss in the end. Could have picked up the spot, which it did eventually, and has got a boundary. A shot this time and helped away towards the fine leg. Another 4. So back-to-back boundaries here for the skipper. Hang on, that was a free hit for the no ball as well. He's got to move on here. Kendall Fleming again in the slot. Just trying to pick out a spot towards the cover region. And ends up hitting straight back towards the bowler. 26 of 17 for Fleming. A desperate dive is done brilliantly to stop that. And that was a slow half tracker for Fleming. It's back for a couple. They've got themselves a move on here with this over. Has done well to whip the bails off in a flash. The wicket keeper. That's going to be a wide. Another extra. Again, beautifully pushed. Just dabs it towards the point region and picks up a single to keep the strike. And that brings us to the end of another over. 7 down. It's 42 for the loss of 3 wickets, Japan. At 7 overs bowled, going at exactly 6 in over. Japan, Kendall Karuaki Fleming, 29 of 21. Sabarish Ravichandran has joined in. Yet to get off the mark, as faced 2 deliveries. Corey Dixon back for his second over. Picked up a wicket in the last. On the pads. Gets himself off the strike. And that allows Ravichandran to face his next delivery. It's a well-poised contest at the moment. Neither of the two sides have just got away with it. And Japan have scored 43, but 3 wickets down. Cook Islands would like to believe rather, they can pick out one of these two. And that is beaten the field. And should be down to 2. Is he coming back for a second here, for a third rather? And gets home quite comfortably in the end. And Thomas Parima was the man giving that chase. One thing is rest assured with these two out there in the middle. Very intelligent cricketers. They'll be pushing those for those 1s and 2s and 3s. They'll keep the scoreboard fairly busy. And there you have it. And that's the point I was trying to make. A gentle push, and they set off for the second one. And without taking any risks. They've had 6 runs taken off this over so far. Still got 3 balls to go. Again, that intent. As soon as he played that ball, he was trying to set off, and it was the right call in the end by Ravichandran. Size against the single. Again, a back of the hand slower ball from Corey Dixon. Watchfully played by Fleming. For all the viewers who are tuning in, This is the second of the two-match series between Japan and the Cook Islands. Down the track this time, doesn't get the connection right. And skittle across for another single. And that brings us to the end of another over. 8 gone, it's 49 for 3 Japan. Oscar Taylor back for his third. 1 for 8 his figures so far. And Fleming goes hard to mid-off. And he set off as soon as he hit that one. Got the calling right. And that's the point that I've been trying to make. Because these two will be busy in between the wickets. He's got himself to 33 of 27. Kendall Fleming. And Ravichandran will take his time before he unleashes. And Cook Islands cannot allow these two to settle in, or the partnership to develop further. And Fleming has been striking the ball really well. And the slot goes straight down, beats the fielder. They've got a long on in position. And tries to go over the top. And that has gone for a boundary. This was sweetly struck. He knows exactly where the fielders are. Mid-off was up inside the circle. They had a long on in place. And Fleming saw the length and goes after it in full flow. Towards the right of mid-off this time, but does well. Hayden Dixon. It's turning out to be a very good knock here from Kendall Fleming. He's moved on to 38 of 29. And through the gap, and 4-run. The first of the morning for Sabarish Ravichandran. Makes it look so simple. And chases after it and flashes into that gap between the point and the cover fieldsman. Watchfully pushed towards the mid-off. No run taken. And that concludes the 9th over. 60 for the loss of 3 wickets Japan. And the captain is Back for his second spell, Mara Ave. Bowled the first over for 8 runs. Picked up a wicket the other day. A wicket is what the Cook Islands desperately needs at the moment. Can't allow this partnership to evolve any further. These two are striking the ball really well. Fleming in particular is batting on 38 of 29. Ravichandran has got himself a boundary as well. They're all set. Fleming on strike to his opposite number. Onto the back foot. Gentle push. Sets off straight away. They're going to come back for an overthrow. Sent back by the captain. And change in the field for the right-hander. The square leg comes off and still not happy with the placements. Goes back to short fine. Has knocked him over. They're spun into the right-hander. And Mara Ave has struck gold here. Well, there you have a look at it. How much has the change in the field done the trick here? Was in the slot, definitely. Not quite sure if he anticipated the ball to come into him. It doesn't matter. A huge wicket in the context of the game. Sabarish Ravichandran departs. Japan are now 61 for the loss of the 4th wicket. There's a player trick that rings. To all the viewers who are watching us live, do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We do have presence across all the major social media verticals. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube, where you are watching this game. This is the second of the 2 T20 internationals between Japan and the Cook Islands, coming from the Sano International Cricket Grounds here in Japan. The home side winning the first of the 2 games the other day by 2 wickets. Almost halfway through the innings, the captain leading from the front, 39 of 30, has seen wickets fall from the other end. Wataru Miyachi is the new man in, joins the skipper. The task will be cut out for him. Try and rotate the strike. Keep picking up those 1s and 2s. Try and keep the scoreboard ticking. And boundaries can come from the other end. Fleming has been batting really well. And it's all about batting till the 20th over. Here goes Mara. A touch slower, short. A loud shout of no. And that was the right call in the end. You can see the intent there. Wants to find that gap, work the ball towards those gaps on the offside and get down to the other end with our Rumiachi. And this time goes towards the other side and gets himself off the mark. A good comeback over for Mara Ave, picking up a big wicket. We all have seen what Ravi Chandran can do with the bat. Okay, gentle tap towards the covers, gets across for a single, and that will keep him on strike for the start of the next over. Halfway through the innings, Japan are 63 for the loss of 4 wickets. And that's the projected score. They've got to move on. 126, the way they are going at the moment. 143 is where they'll be at if they go at about 8 and over. I'm pretty sure with 6 wickets in hand, they'll be pretty much happy to take 143, 150 about. For that to happen, Fleming has to bat and bat brilliantly right throughout the next set of 10 overs. Now Parima with his second over. Was a touch expensive with his first. Gave away a couple of boundaries. Relying on his slower bowlers now, Mara Ave. These two sides played the East Asia Pacific qualifiers back in 2022-23. That was for a spot in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2024. And second in the regional final in Japan. Got a very good structure in place. Starting pretty young. They've got the under-12s in Cricket Blast competition, the under-15, under-19 leagues, the Japan Cup, the Japan Cricket League, which has all the 3 formats available, the 40 over, the T20s, as well as the T10s. Is he going to come back for a second on the misfield? He does. And then the Japan Premier League, the JCL and the JPL are the most important for the international selections. And that is mirrored in the women's cricket setup as well. Trying to capture the talent pretty young and try and build on it. The girls as well start pretty early. The under-12 stage with the Cricket Blast, the under-16 and the under-19 leagues which is a new introduction in 2025. And then the J-Bash with the beginners, the hardball beginners, and the All-Stars for the best domestic players. And of course, the Women's Japan Premier League and the Women's Japan Cricket League. So 11 completed and 67 for Japan. going to try and rush through the overs now. Mara Ave. We've got Fleming on the other end. Has been batting really well. And sweeps it well. There's a fielder out there in the deep. It'll only be a single, and that brings Kendall Fleming back on strike. It'll be very interesting to see how he approaches for the next 9 overs. Is he going to go big right from here on until the 20th, or is he going to be a bit watchful? And goes Ariel, a chance in the deep, and that one just sails over the fieldsman at long off. Goes all the way for a maximum. That was sweetly timed. Gives a shimmy. It was definitely in his arc and gives it a full Monty. And a gentle dab towards the covers, following that massive 6 towards long off. Again, waits for it. Couldn't quite get it through the gap. Will get a single, gets himself to 48. Kendall Fleming. They need support from the other end. They've got the number of runs required in the over. And trying to set up a good target. And that makes Miyachi's role very critical. A touch shorter. Moves on to the back foot. Is he going to come back for a second? A chance at the non-striker's in. The throw never arrived. Didn't pick out the right end. Miyachi had made it. It had to be at the non-striker's end. And brings us to the end of another over. It's 77 for Japan after the end of 12 overs. Still sticking up with the slower bowlers. Mara Ave. Ava Parima is going to bowl his third. Fleming on strike. In sight of a very good half century here. Going at just under 6.5 in over. It's beautifully bowled. Forces him to stay back, but gets a single, gets across and gets himself to 49. They're setting themselves pretty nicely for the last 5. These two should bat another 3 overs with Fleming, who has to stay there. Taken in the full and drives well for another single, and that brings Fleming back on strike. He's played a good hand so far, Wataru Miyachi. Right, Fleming on 49. And that's going to be a wide down the leg side. Comparatively, they've been disciplined. So they'll have to try and avoid those extras. We've still got about 7 overs left after it. They are definitely in business for around about 135, 140. Another wide, and the steal a by of it. Had ample time to rock onto the back foot. Got protection in the deep. Will only be a single. And the good thing from Japan's perspective is runs haven't dried up. Even if they haven't scored boundaries, they've got those ones and twos quite consistently in this innings, which was something we didn't see often in the other game that was played yesterday. And Fleming knocks it towards the third man, and that completes a very good 50 for the captain. The captain's knock, right when the team desperately needed it. Kendall Karawaki Fleming puts his hand up and comes up with a very good half century. And that job is only half done. 6 fours, 1 6. And striking out just a shade over 130. And taken on the full. And couldn't quite find the gap. Was a misfield out there in the deep. Should allow him to come back for a second. There have been a couple of misses in the field this morning from the Cook Islands. It's giving away about 4 or 5 runs extra. And watchfully played, last ball of the over. Well defended. So 13 gone, it's 86 for Japan. And that's the bowling card. Mara Abe, 3 overs, 1 for 21. Hayden Dixon, 1 for 8 from his 2. Oscar Taylor picking up a wicket as well, 1 for 19 his figures in 3 overs. Corey Dixon picked up a wicket. Abe has got 1, Oscar Taylor has got 1. I'm pretty sure we'll be swiftly seeing the faster bowlers coming back into the action. And Corey Dixon has been brought on from this end. And 1 for 10 in 2 overs for him. He's got Fleming in front of him. Good ball to start his second spell. Right into the block hole. There's been a very well compiled knock of 50 and 6 fours and a 6. Has been able to get those boundaries quite consistently whenever the situation has rised. Comes back for a second. And that's pretty intelligent. Wants to keep as much of strike as possible now. A very good partnership developing between these two. Very well supported from the other end by Wataru Miyachi. And again, targeting those pads. These are easy pickings. Making those adjustments in the deep on the leg side. Corey Dixon. Straight inside the crease and was trying to steer it away backward of point. He doesn't have to do anything out of the ordinary here. Wataru Miyachi just play good, sensible cricket. Get a single, get down to the non-striker's end. It takes the thickest outside edge, flashed at it. He's going to come back for a second here. And does pretty well in the end. You got to praise the calling. They've been right on top of it. Every time they sense the opportunity, they have ran back to the other end without a doubt. Without taking any risks. 5 easy runs taken in the over. Has a shy at the non-striker's end. So that concludes another over. 14 gone. It's 91 for 4. And 6 overs remaining, 6 wickets in hand. Realistically, 55-60. Can they get is a big question. And for that to happen, the man on strike now has to bat right through. Ava Parima will bowl out here. And then for 26 today for him. From Cook Islands' point of view, can he try and pick one of these two? And getting that fielder on the onside a bit finer for Miyachi. And goes completely in the opposite direction in terms of the option he has chosen with the ball. Wide given. And sweeps and takes the bottom of the bat and goes straight towards the bowler. And this time takes it on the full, but again doesn't quite find the gap. He's bowling according to his field. What should I say? Hasn't been able to find those gaps. He's taken on the full, but couldn't quite put it away. Here goes Parima once again. And this time pushed quicker and beats the infield. And chases on, but Corey Dixon couldn't quite get to the end of it. A very timely boundary for Miyachi in Japan. He's been trying that right throughout since he has come on the pitch. Wataru Miyachi. And slower bowlers have been dealt with a lot of sweeping from the batsman. And takes the leading edge this time and goes completely the other way. We've got 6 in the first 5 deliveries so far. Can Japan end this over well? Maybe a boundary. We've got wickets in hand. It's about pushing that current run rate even further. And shot wasn't in the position. Plays it down to West long off, and that completes over number 15. So it's 98 for 4. Fleming moving really well, 54 of 42. A good hand from Wataru Miyachi. Moves to 18 of 22. Has played that second pivotal role quite well in this partnership. Gets it through the gap. A desperate dive from the fieldsman at cover. And that's a very good boundary for Japan. And Corey Dixon has been welcomed with a sumptuous drive. A couple of steps down, and he knows what exactly he was doing. A very good start to the over now for Miyachi. And this time kept a touch shorter from the batsman. And wasn't in the range to go for a drive there. They've bowled decent tight lines right through. But Japan have been busy in picking up those ones and twos. And then those timely boundaries at times have just added to the total. They've given themselves a very good foundation now. It's all about providing that finishing touch to this innings. And 28 deliveries to go. 2 set batsmen now they're in the middle. And they should be aiming for at least 45-50 from the last 5 or whatever's left of it now. And Fleming on strike. Dances down. Angling away from the left-hander. And followed the ball. Doesn't get the connection. No ball is the call. Is he going to come back for a second? The chance at non-strikers in. Well, had that ball hit the stumps on direct, would have made the case really interesting. And what he's done is got himself back on strike, and that's going to be a free hit. Fleming on strike. He goes after it and hits the gap perfectly. 4 more added to the total. And Fleming rushes to 60 now. He's in the slot, clears his leg and dispatches with absolute disdain. He's knocked him over. How did he miss that? And that's a brilliant ball And kept on the stumps. You miss, I hit. The leg stump was slightly exposed, and that's exactly what Corey Dixon has targeted. After playing a very good hand, the skipper, Kendall Korowaki Fleming, walks back. And just not the time Japan would have wanted to see their captain coming off from the wicket. And that concludes a very good spell from Corey Dixon as well. 2 for 27 is what he's managed in 4. Marave is back for his last over. Charlie Hara-Hinds, the new man in, wasn't involved the other day. Gets his chance now. A shot and put away. A couple of bounces towards the square leg fieldsman. Miyachi's role would be very critical from here on. He's seen a lot of the bowling now. Faced 26 deliveries. He's got to go big in the last 4 overs. Here's Mara Ave. And slower, shorter. And he's got all the protection out there in the deep. Will only be a single. You got to keep the scoreboard ticking. Pick those ones, convert those ones into twos, twos into threes, and an odd boundary can definitely take this score, rather push it more than 140. Gets himself in the line of the ball, but couldn't quite get the connection. No run taken. He missed out on that one. A slip through the hand, I believe, and no ball signal. The first signal that we saw from the umpire, or maybe he was inquiring with the square leg umpire. He had the outstretched right arm, and then decided to talk through it. It clearly slipped out of his hand there. I'm not quite sure what the outcome is. Of course, it's got to be a no ball for sure. And there you have it, no ball and a free hit for Wataru Miyachi. Allows him to free his arms now. Can he try and just put it away? Waits for it, goes down the ground. I wanted to come back for the second, which wasn't there. Slow one. And it's a no ball. And bounced a couple of times before it reached the batsman. Another free hit. Another opportunity for Japan to try and add a bit of momentum. Another no ball. And again, this one slipping off of the hand. I've been talking about those extras. And 3 no balls in the over. The good thing from Cook Islands' perspective is they haven't been able to take advantage of those free hits. Is he going to come back for a second? No, decides against it. It's been a long over already from Japan, from Cook Islands' perspective. Right, last ball of the over. It goes reverse this time. A chance at the striker's end. They all go up. And that has been given by the square leg umpire. It's a full toss and wanted to get it through the gap. Charlie Harahins couldn't quite make his ground. So that's the end of the 17th. It's 117 for the loss of 5 wickets. Right, 3 overs remain. Kiefer Yamamoto Lake, the new man in. Goes straight down the ground. They've got a long on which is much straighter. Yamamoto, the man on strike. Hayden Dixon in his third over. Beautifully ball, leaving the left-hander. It's been a good hand from Wataru Miyachi so far. He'll have to bat the last 3 overs now for Japan. Cook Islands will want to make sure they don't concede too many in these last 3 overs. One thing from their perspective is they haven't allowed Japan to get away with it. There's been one brilliant knock from the captain, Kendall Fleming. And other than that, the batsmen have struggled to get going. Wataru Miyachi has played a very good hand. Takes the thickest outside edge. And doesn't have enough legs to go all the way through. 2 runs taken. And Yamamoto gets himself off the mark. Here's Hayden into the block hole. And again, the angle nudged away for another run. Down the track and saw the slow one, waits for it. A chance at the striker's end. Missed the ball completely there. James Pickering. Again, without taking any risks, they've managed to get 5 in the over so far. And can they try and finish this over off? Well, Japan. A boundary is what they need. And they pursued for at least 140, 145. Oh, had he hit the stems, that would have been gone. And did well to collect that. Another over completed. It's 123 for the loss of 6 wickets. Last over for Oscar Taylor. Ball well inside the power play. And chips it in the air. We've got the players position exactly for that. And long on. And 1 for 19 in his 3. He's bowled well within himself. Hasn't given anything away to the batsman. Keeper is up. Taro Miyachi shuffles across. Targets the mid-wicket region. A couple of bounces and cleaned up in the deep, but not before Miyachi comes back for a second. Going a shade under 7. Goes reverse and connects. And had an opportunity there at the short third. And is trying to be innovative. And hasn't got on the right side of results so far. Again gets the bottom of the bat. In the deep, coming back for a second, a chance at the striker's end. An appeal there by the keeper. It looks like Yamamoto has made his ground. They're still up in arms. And the squaring umpire is pretty confident about it. So 6 of the first 4 deliveries here. And this time he connects. Is it going to be another 2? And this time it should be much more comfortably taken. And final ball of the over. In the slot is gone aerial once again. A chance out there in the deep. And it's picked out an absolute blinder. What a catch that is. Corey Dixon, the man running in from the deep, has plugged it inches off the ground. And saw the length, goes after it. The intent was quite clear from the batsman. He tried that shot a couple of times on the previous deliveries, but this time getting much better connection. But the ball finding the fieldsman. Yamamoto departs with 6 balls to go. 131 for 7 after the end of over number 19, Japan. And Shoma Taylor is the new man in. And Shoma Sugaya Taylor. And the good thing from Japan's perspective, they've got the main man on strike. Taro Miyachi, 30 of 34 for him. And Hayden Dixon will close out the innings for the Cook Islands. Here goes Hayden. And shimmy targets the mid-wicket, couldn't quite get it away from that fieldsman. Rather shy at the stumps at the non-striker's end. A dot ball to start the over. I won't be surprised if Miyachi keeps the strike to himself. Sets it up beautifully. It does slower, goes down the ground. Is he going to come back for a second here? And the idea is right, and try and collect as many as you possibly can. They've got a decent total. Remember, Cook Islands batted first the other day. Could only manage 104. And they'll have to bat pretty decently to find this target. Knocked him over. First ball, targeting that mid-wicket region. And Shoma Sugaya Slater has his bails pegged back. Hayden Dixon pushed that one slightly quicker. And kept it on stumps, and you miss I hit. And had to go for a big one there. No chances. Makoto Taniyama, the new man in. And get to face 3 deliveries. Can he find one good shot? One big blow. Here goes Dixon. And trying to be a bit cheeky. Gets enough contact to scamper across for a single. And there was an appeal there, followed by laughter. But I think Wataru Miyachi was easily home in the end. Here goes Hayden. Down the track. A touch shorter. Doesn't get the connection. Is he going to come back for a second here? He'll push for it. And a hard throw from long on. But the batsman gets across for the second. And sets it up perfectly. Miyachi, who's been batting really well. 133 of 37. Will get to face Hayden Dixon for one more time. 135 for 8 in 19.5. Here comes the final ball of the innings. It goes after it and finds the boundary. What a way to finish the innings off. It does it in style. Wataru Miyachi. Japan finishes at 139 for the loss of 8 wickets in their stipulated 20 overs. It was in the slot. Makes a bit of room to try and play it over the offside field. I had no intent to keep that one down. Goes aerial, goes airborne, and finds a boundary. It's been an impressive batting performance from the Japan side. Two brilliant knocks, one coming in from Kendall Karawaki Fleming and Wataru Miyachi doing the bulk of the scoring. 60 for the captain, 37 for the wicketkeeper, and the others playing alongside. Not significant contributions, but chipping in with quite decent partnerships. And that's the batting card for Japan. Cook Islands winning the toss, electing to bowl first. And Karawaki Fleming, 60 of 46. And a lot of single-digit scores there. Wataru Miyachi with a significant contribution in the middle order, 37 of 38 balls. Yamamoto, 9 of 8. 15 extras, 20 overs, 139 for 8, Japan. The bowling department, Cook Islands, the captain again, starting off the innings, finished on 1 for 28. Hayden Dixon picking up 2 wickets, 2 for 22 for him in his 4 overs. Oscar and Corey Dixon with identical figures of 2 for 27 in their 4 overs each. James Pickering, a fall of wickets, 11, 19, 29, and a good partnership for the 4th wicket. So that's the target. 140 to get in 20 overs for Cook Islands. It's going to be a very interesting chase when they come out to bat. We'll have to see how they go about with their business. Do join us again in about 10 minutes from now. There's going to be a very interesting run chase coming up after the break. Welcome back to all the viewers tuning in. I'm back live for the start of the second innings. It's a game between Japan and the Cook Islands. The second of this short bilateral series between the two countries. We had a game played the other day. Japan beating Cook Islands by 2 wickets. I'm Junaid Ahmed, and I'll be bringing you all the action and the drama from the Sano International Cricket Ground here in Japan. The task is cut out. They had to get at exactly 7 in over. 140 is the number of runs required for the Cook Islands side. It was a decent batting performance from Japan. The captain, leading from the front, was very well supported in the middle by Wataru Miyachi. Nothing significant coming in from the others. They've got runs on the board. It's all about executing those plans to perfection and defending those 140. All set for the start of the second innings. First ball coming up. Kiefer Yamamoto. Down the track. Thomas Parima. And Cook Islands get their innings underway with an extra. Thomas Parima on the non-striker's end. Aiden Dixon has been chosen to open the innings. It was in the slot. Doesn't get a clean end of the bat. Gets himself off the mark. Dixon. And slashes, goes over the infield and gets a boundary. A good start for Thomas Parima. It's definitely in the slot for him. Charges his arm, and once you beat the 30-yard circle, it's quite difficult to stop those ones. A pretty confident start. Played a good hand of 16 the other day. And watchfully played. No run taken. In Japan's perspective, they would want those early wickets inside the first 6 overs. Touch shorter. He's trying to cut it from inside. Doesn't get the connection. And shadow practicing after he let that one go through. And got the boundary in the over. And that is something they'll be pretty content with, because it's not a massive target they're chasing. 140. The targets like these could be tricky at times. I'm not entirely sure whether to go for it in full flow or take a more of a controlled measure with your scoring rate. And the slot goes after it and goes over the mid-off fieldsman for another 4. A very good start to the chase by Cook Islands. Has shown the intent quite clearly. Thomas Parima is pitched up. He's going to go after it. Down the track this time and whacks it towards mid-wicket. Missed by the fieldsman. And that's going to be third in the over. And what a start this is for the Cook Islands. Another 4 to end the over with. And they raised themselves to 14 now after the end of the first over. Unsettling Yamamoto completely. Thomas Parima. Faced for the first time these two sides on the 9th of May. Japan winning that game quite comfortably in the end, and the other day as well. We took the game deep, and in the end Ravichandran's knock was decisive. Can they be third time dominant? All the viewers who are tuning in, watching this game live on our YouTube channel as well as on the fan core in the Indian subcontinent. This is the second of on the pad straight away. That is mightily close. I'm not quite sure if he got a bit of a bat on that. A very good start from Samad. Got a wicket in the very first over the other day. He's got that knack of running through the overs pretty quickly. Down the track, missed the line and gets out stumped. And just what Japan needed. Hayden Dixon trying to target the spinner. Falls out in the process. I'm not quite sure if he really needed to do that. Early on in the innings, they got 14 of the first over. Charges his arm and doesn't quite connect. Easy job in the end for Wataru Miyachi. All the viewers who are watching us live on the YouTube channel, consider subscribing to the Japan Cricket Association channel. We do have presence on all the social media verticals, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as on YouTube. Do follow, subscribe, like the page for all the news, views, updates from this part of the world, cricketing updates from this part of the world. Significant work done for the game of cricket, which is an ever-evolving one in Japan. Now Vaparima has joined Thomas in the middle. And sweeps first time. And taken. Back-to-back wickets. Separated by a dot ball. I'm not quite sure what Cook Islands want to do here. Wasn't in the arc to go full flush. Doesn't get the distance, doesn't get the elevation, and that has brought about his downfall. However, Parima departs without scoring, and Cook Islands find themselves in a spot of bother with 14 runs on the board. 2 wickets down inside the second over. Like I was saying, there's a lot of work being done on the grassroots levels, starting from the under-12 category, both in the men's and the women's category. The under-15, under-19s in the league stage for the young boys, then the Japan Cup, the Japan Cricket League across different formats, whether it's 40 overs, 2020 or the T10s. The JCL and the JPL being the two prime competitions that would fetch your entry into the international cricket in this part of the world, in Japan. Right, the skipper is out there in the middle, Mara Ave, with the huge responsibility on his shoulder. And again, we've gone monotonous. Partnership is very crucial. Losing 2 wickets inside the first 2 overs is putting yourselves in a lot of pressure in a run chase. And watchfully pushed towards the long on fieldsman. Gets himself off the mark here. And what a over this is from Abdul Samad. Has picked up 2 and conceded just 1 run. After the end of the second, it's 15 for the loss of 2 wickets, the Cook Islands. And coming back to the cricketing structure in Japan, it's almost the mirror image of the men's cricket structure they have, even for the girls and the women's categories, under 12, under 16, 19, and then the J-Bash for the beginners, as well as the players who want to take the game up professionally, the hardball beginners and the all-stars domestic players, where the best talent in the country would get an opportunity, and then the WJPL, the Women's Japan Premier League, and the Women's Japan Cricket League. These two sides competed in the East Asia Pacific qualifiers. And Charlie Hinch with his first over, 3 draws to start the over with. Mara Ave, the man on strike, dances down the track, but goes towards the fine leg region and finds himself a boundary. And you won't be short of entertainment with Thomas Parima and Mara Ave in the middle. If they see an opportunity, they will go after the bowling. Will they take a very controlled measure, or will they take that aggressive route? Takes the leading edge and taken! Tries 1 shot too many, the captain. And that has brought about his downfall. And struck a boundary of the previous delivery. And takes the leading edge this time. And scoops in the air. And an easy catch in the end towards the cover fieldsman, who doesn't disappoint. And just not going according to the plan for the Cook Island side. 3 wickets inside 3 overs, and Japan have definitely got their noses in front here. Right, Corey Dixon is the new man in. And Charlie Hara Hins has got his first wicket. He didn't play the other day. He's got his opportunity in this game, and has already picked up his first in his very first over. A touch shot this time. Couldn't quite find the gap towards the offside. So that completes another successful over for Japan. It's 19 for 3, the Cook Islands. Thomas Parima on strike to Abdul Samad. Watchfully pushed towards the covers. It'll be very interesting to see how Parima goes about his business. Scored a couple of boundaries in the very first over. He goes big this time towards the mid-wicket. He'll have to go back and fetch that ball. That's a mammoth hit for a maximum. Was in his arc and decides to go with full force there, Thomas Parima. That was bowled into him, and that was going one way after he struck that. Beautifully done. A touch shorter, pushed through quicker. And just dabs it towards short mid-on for a single. And they've got the number of runs required. It's just the wickets column, which will be troubling them a little bit. He's in the middle of a very good knock here, Thomas Parima. 19 of 8. From Cook Island's perspective, they want him to stay there for as long as he possibly can. He's trying to launch himself there, Dixon. And work towards the shot fine, straight towards the fieldsman. Still got a ball to go in the over. They've got the number of runs required. And don't have to do anything fancy here. Just nudge the ball in the gaps. Keep picking up those ones and twos. That's the end of another over. 4 completed. It's 26 for the loss of 3 wickets, Cook Islands. Shoma Sugaya Slater with his first over. And Thomas Parima, the man on strike, on the pads. Height is a question. And like I was saying, you don't have to do anything fancy, anything silly. Just keep rotating the strike and see how it pans out for them towards the back end of the innings. Wickets in hand is going to be absolutely crucial in the last 6 or 7 overs. It's beautifully played. Good effort in the field as well. Couldn't quite beat that gap between back foot point and the short third man. Didn't feature in yesterday's game. Sugaya made a couple of changes in the second T20I Japan side. Of course, they were coming on the back of a final that was played on the 11th. A chance at the non-strikers in. It's been back-to-back games for these sides who are involved in a tri-series involving Thailand. That concluded on the 11th of May with Thailand emerging victorious in that competition. Let's try and keep rotating the strike. They've got all the firepower in terms of striking big, especially with the likes of Thomas Parima. Heaves it towards the mid-wicket. Is he going to come back for a second size against it? And Corey Dixon wanted to come across but was sent back by Parima. The right decision in the end. Helped away, and that's going to run down the hill for another 4. A very good end to the over from the Cook Islands perspective. A string in line, targeting those pads, and beautifully played in the end. Gets himself away from their engine, just tucks it away perfectly. So 5 completed. It's 34 for 3 Cook Islands. The next 5 or 6 overs would hold absolute key from the batting side's perspective. You can get about 35, 37 without losing a wicket. They'll consider themselves with a bit of a shout in the last 10 overs or so. And for that, they'll have to see some very disciplined bowlers, the likes of Ben Davis and Sabarish Ravichandran. They've been amongst wickets quite regularly in the recent times. Here goes Davis down the track and goes over the infield. Still giving it a chase, but could only retrieve the ball on that occasion. And Corey Dixon gets into the act with his first boundary. And goes inside out. A good start to the over. Now, whenever you get a good start, a boundary of the first couple of deliveries, try and make that over go absolutely big. Doesn't necessarily have to be boundaries left, right and center and all the deliveries, but you convert 1s and 2s and keep the scoreboard busy. And support in the deep will only be a single. Not fully played. He'll have to take a cautious route. Thomas Parima realizes the importance of his wicket. If he stays there until the end, he'll be definitely in with a huge opportunity. Down the track and gets bowled over. A huge wicket for Japan. This was the man who could have taken the game away from them. A bit of a commentator's curse there. Just when I was beginning to say he needs to go deep, he needs to go big, he came dancing down the track and missed the line of the ball completely and gets bowled over. Another one departs for the Cook Islands. 39 for the loss of 4 wickets inside the power play. Right, Liam Denny, the man on strike. He's out there in the middle to join Corey Dixon. It'll be very interesting to see the approach from Cook Islands now, with all the main batters back in the hut. And like always, Ben Davis picks up a wicket in his first over. He was batting so well, Thomas Parima, and that is something sometimes can happen in trying one shot too many. So power play completed. It's 39 for Cook Islands, going at 6.5 in over and chasing a total of 140. Still got 100 runs to get in 14 overs. It's going to be a daunting task from here on. And the star of the show the other day, Sabarish Ravichandran, is into the attack. It's going to be a very interesting phase of play. At this stage of the game, Japan were 29 for 3. Then came the knock from Kendall Karuaki Fleming. A brilliant 60 and was very well supported by the wicketkeeper Wataru. Needs something of that sort from the Cook Island batsman. A touch shot. It's got long on in place. Ravichandran picked up 4 for 16 from his quota of 4 overs the other day. And very handy with the bat as well. Played a match-winning knock of 50. Couldn't quite provide the finishing touch to the innings. Lost his wicket, the 8th one to fall for Japan. And tucks it away. Is he going to come back for a second? Should allow ample time. Short again. Struggled to middle the ball. Cook Islands except Thomas Parima. Sighting the ball really well. Struck 3 boundaries in the very first over. Got a huge 6 against the spinner. Reaches out for that. But again, not enough contact. It was a very tricky customer to deal with, Ravichandran. Can be quicker at times and gives the ball enough flight on occasions. And Denny on strike for the last ball of the over from Ravichandran. And pushes it towards the point region for another single. So that brings us to the end of the 7th over with the score 45 for the loss of 4 wickets. So that's the equation, 95 to get off 78 balls. We started the innings off with a required run rate of 7 in over. That has just creeped up a little, 7.31. And the most important thing from the batting size perspective is the wickets column. They've lost a touch too many inside the first 7 overs. In desperate need of a big partnership here. They're playing along the similar lines Japan when they were out there in the middle. And these two will have to bat for another good 6 or 7 overs. Liam Denny and Corey Dixon. And Taniyama into the attack, coming back for a second. A chance at the non-striker's end. He's taken the bails off, but looks like he was in quite comfortably. Good running. It was a very good throw out there in the deep. Makoto Taniyama, one of the players who were rested in the first game. Goes inside out. Hasn't got to the meat of the bat. And then again, a couple. Well run. The calling has been pretty good. An early call for the second. Responded well by the non-striker. On the pads and given. A nod of the head by the umpire. He stands puzzled there, Liam Denny. Well, that looked plump. Looked pretty adjacent right the moment it hit those pads. Missed the line of the ball completely. And straight as an arrow, and was not in two minds at all, the umpire. So Denny departs for 8. And Cook Islands are in deep, deep trouble now with half the side back in the hut for just 49 on the board. Something's happened here. I think there is a contemplation of what has just panned out, because it looks like Liam Denny has been called back. And was almost touching the boundary rope after he took that long walk back. There was a consultation done, and the batsman has been called back. Understandably, there was a bit of a frustration shown. We'll have to put that behind and focus on the next play. Short and wide, and pushes it towards the sweeper cover. 1 run taken. Denny will keep the strike, and Cook Islands reach their 50 after the end of 8 overs. Here's Ravichandran. Another short one. It doesn't get the connection. He was targeting that mid-wicket region with the bat. Again in the slot, he yokes himself. Dixon pushes it towards the long off. And comes dancing down the track and checks his shot in the end. And again, Ravichandran rushing through his overs pretty quickly. And back-to-back dot balls. Well, that was very close to the stumps there. Another over successfully closed down. Just 2 conceded. 52 for 4 after the end of the 9th. And that required run rate is mounted to 8 in over now. Started at 7. Striking really well at a point in time. And the wickets in quick succession has dropped the current run rate down to 5.78. Ben Davis will continue. On strike is Corey Dixon. And these two will bowl well in tandem. The likes of Ben Davis and Sabarish Ravichandran. He's got a lot of bowling options. And the captain, Kendall Fleming. There's Taniyama, there's Samad. 4 proper spinning options that he has got. And Declan Suzuki can roll his arm over as well. There's Charlie Hinz. A gentle push towards long off for a single. And that required run rate is just going to keep climbing from here on. They need a boundary in every over. And started this over with 8. That was required. We'll be pushing closer to 9 by the time we end the over number 10. Chips it straight back to the bowler. A pretty soft dismissal in the end. Wicket number 5 goes down for the Cook Islands. He's mixing it up pretty well here, Ben Davis. And Liam Denny finally has to take that long walk back to the dugout. drinks break and a moment for both the sides to reflect on the performance so far. And 10 overs to go. And a 90 to get for the batting side. And half the side, the top line batsman back in the dugout. And it's going to be a very difficult task from here on. And Japan have put in all the hard yards, have done all the hard work. From their perspective, just try and knock over a couple of more wickets. And Ben Davis again amongst the wickets once again. Paani Vailoa is the new man in. Taro making those adjustments towards the leg side. Still got one ball in the 10th over remains. And it goes big first time. And that's the end of the over. Another successful one for Japan. 54 for 5 after the end of 10th. And Charlie Hinch will continue. Non-strike is Paani Vailoa, who's just joining Corey Dixon in the middle. He's got himself off the mark with the first delivery he faced. And goes big. Misses out on that one. That was definitely in the range to go for a big one. It'll be very interesting to see the approach from the batsman from here on. They're going to try and take on the bowling. He goes after it. A chance at the long on. Just over. That's gone for a maximum. He tried that one on the very first delivery. Couldn't quite get the connection. But this time, and strikes it from well within the crease and just over Declan Suzuki. The second six of the innings. And again, the intent is quite clear from Vailoa. And connects again. Has he got enough? A chance! Brilliant work. And stops the ball from getting over. They get back for a second. And saved a sudden six there. Saved 4 runs in the end. Skid it across for a couple. Knocks him over with that one. He's still standing his ground there. I'm not quite sure what has happened. And there you have a look at it. The stumps get tossed up. And has been given. He was standing his ground momentarily after the dismissal while lower. Then the confirmation coming in from the umpires. Maybe you would have thought that it was the glove of the keeper that took the bails over. Wasn't the case to be. So number 6 departs after striking a couple of blows. 62 for 6 are the Cook Islands. In the middle of a very good spell here, Charlie Hara-Hinds, 2 for 12 in his second over. He's got a delivery left. And James Pickering, the wicketkeeper, is out there in the middle. And just going through the motions now. Cook Islands. And still long way away from that target. Another over completed. A successful one for Japan. 62 for 6 after the end of the 11th, going well under 6 and over. Still got about 78 to get in the last 9. Just got bowlers who remain alongside James Pickering. For all the viewers who are watching us live on the YouTube, do consider subscribing to our channel for all the latest information relating to Japan cricket. And cricket has found a new home in this part of the world, where the youngsters are taking up to the sport really well. They've been very well guided. They've been provided a very good structure in terms of the grassroots levels, coming up through the ranks from the under-12s up until the senior stages for both men and women. And of course, with the introduction of the game of cricket in the Olympics, it's pushed straight down the ground. Another couple of runs taken. It's going to inspire a lot of talent coming up from this part of the world as well. Of course, with the introduction of cricket in the LA Olympics in 2028. They do compete in the East Asia Pacific region qualifiers. That is the route towards the World Cup qualification. Finished third in 2023. He's got himself to 14 of 18 deliveries, Corey Dixon. And Pickering here to get off the mark has faced a delivery. There goes Yamamoto. Oh, it's a good shot. The sound of the bat was a proper cricketing melody. A touch shorter. And his eyes lit up as soon as he saw that one. Clears his leg and dispatches that in front of square. Can he provide a few more of those meaty blows for his side? Tucks it away towards the onside again. Is he going to come back for a second here? Chances the strike is in, but the throw is a bit wayward. Allows the batsman to come back for an easy 2. So 10 runs in the over already. Still got a ball to go. Can he take one and keep a strike for the next over? A full toss. Helped away again into those vacant spaces. A diving effort in the deep, but that should allow Dixon and Pickering to come back for another couple. A good end to the over. And 12 runs coming off it. The score moves to 74 for the loss of 6 wickets. So that's the equation on the bottom of your screens. 66 to get off the last 8. We'll have to strike at 8.25 in over. It's gettable. For that to happen, James Pickering and Corey Dixon will have to bat through. Still got to face some overs, a couple of them from Ben Davis. And Sabarish Ravichandran has got a couple of overs left himself. It's not going to be an easy task in getting those 60-odd runs in the final 8. And they'll have to believe here. They'll have to bat deep, try and keep rotating the strike. The last over was a perfect example of how the template should be for the next 8. He goes in the air. A chance for the fieldsman, and brilliantly taken. He was running backwards. Makoto Taniyama. That had gone miles up in the air from Corey Dixon. Got the elevation and not the distance. It wasn't easy when it's coming right from your shoulder. And with that, the chances are looking quite bleak from the batting side's perspective. Number 7 departs for the Cook Islands. There's still a lot more to get. Ben Davis has picked up his 3rd of the morning. 3 for 8, his figures. Still a lot of bowling still to be done. Oscar Taylor is the new man. It's been a very good performance from the Japan side. Very good with the bat. It wasn't that everybody chipping in. Just 2 major contributions from Kendall, Fleming and Wataru. But with the ball, just like the other day, it's a very good collective effort by a quality side from this part of the world. And takes the leading edge. Works away for another single. Oh, he's come back for a second. It's well run. That was perfectly placed. Played with soft hands there. And that allowed him an opportunity to come back for a couple. So that concludes another over. Another successful one from the Japan's perspective. It's got 7 overs to go. Another 59 to get. And left with 3 wickets in hand. They have run out of batting options now, the Cook Islands. It's going to be an absolute miracle if they get home from here on. But in cricket, like in life, you never say never. They'll have to believe in themselves and try and take the game to the opponents and fight until the final ball is bowled. Taniyama is back for his second over. Pickering and Taylor out there in the middle. That one was pushed through a lot quicker. 60 to get off 40 deliveries. Still possible. It requires a lot of doing to get there. Again, pitched up, gets bottom of the bat. Singles won't do it from here. There has to be a boundary at least in an over. And that has to be punctuated by a few singles, or a couple of twos rather. And on the pads, missing the stumps, a chance of the strikers in, has a shy at it. Shot pulled away. And both are there in the deep. Another single taken. It's been a bit of sedate last few overs from the batting side's perspective, especially when they really needed to up the ante. Have kept losing the wickets quite regularly. Partnerships is what they needed right from the get-go. Haven't been able to stitch one successfully. Another over completed. 14 gone. It's 83 for 7. Need 9.5 in over. That is just going to keep mounting from here on. Every dot ball that is pushed even further. I've seen funny things happen in this format of the game. A couple of very good overs of 15 each might just change the course of the game in the batting side's favour. Ben Davis back for his last over. And decides to go after the bowling with the very first delivery. 3 for 12. Has been magnificent with the ball. And whacks it straight back at the bowler. Good feeling of his own bowling by Ben. And goes reverse. And get good part of the bat. But doesn't beat the fielder at 45. And through the gap this time for another single. Oh, he's come back for a second. That's Very well run. Well, hang on. So 2 given. It looked like for a moment that he might have been short of his ground there, but it wasn't the case to be. This one chipped in the air, inside out. Beautifully played. We'll wait for the umpire's signal. It's 4 given. And that was a beautiful shot. Couple of steps down. And just lofted over. Perfectly placed in between the gap. And tucked away towards the fine leg. Or is he going to come back for a second? A chance at the striker's end. Had that throw been... Had the stumps rather. Could have made things a little more interesting. And that brings us to the end of another over. 9 coming off it. A better one from the Cook Islands perspective. 92 for the loss of 7 wickets. Still got 48 to get in 30 balls. With 3 wickets in hand. And all they need is a couple of very good overs from here. Maybe 2 overs of 12 each. Just to balance out the equation a little bit. It's bowled well. Makoto Taniyama hasn't picked up a wicket. And has definitely stemmed the flow of runs. Even further, should I be adding on. And taken on the full. Again gets the bottom of the bat. That's not going to be effective. Plays it straight back at Taniyama. And does well to stop it. Need to find an odd boundary in every over. Or a 6 maybe. There's a loud shout. And the umpire was retracting himself. Wasn't interested at all. So 2 back-to-back dot balls. Has managed to get something, and another single. So 47 to get in 27. And on the pads, would have gone on to miss the leg stump. It's been a very tight over from Taniyama. Has given nothing away whatsoever. And a single to round off the over. 16 completed. It's 95 for 7. And 45 to get in the last 4. The required run rate is 11.25. Kendall Fleming has decided to bring on one of his most experienced bowlers in Ravi Chandran. He's got a couple of overs left. And bowl the 17th and the 19th, should the circumstances allow. I haven't seen Cook Islands really going after the bowling. They're trying to play those shots but haven't been able to middle them. It starts off with a dot ball here. Again comes down the track, takes it on the full. And is out stumped here. He's trying to come down the track. Beautifully ball anticipated. Back of the hand, and Muftaru doing the rest. So James Pickering departs. Number 8 goes down for Cook Islands with the score on 96. I'm just going through the motions here. The job is done and dusted from the Japan perspective. They've been absolutely clinical with the ball in the field. Peter Ravarua is the new man in. He'll get to face Sabarish Ravichandran. He's picked up a wicket. Plays from within the crease there, Ravarua. The game is well and truly out of the hands from the Cook Islands perspective. Has to get more than 12 in over, straight as an arrow given by the umpire. And that was pushed through the air a lot quicker than the batsman would have anticipated. I had a bit of a question there. Not quite sure. And that was right in front. So Ravarua departs without troubling the scorers. 96 for 9. That's the equation again. 44 to get off 19 deliveries. Need to strike at about 14 and over. Last man walks in. Taiki Vutai, the last man in. And he joins Oscar Taylor, who has consumed 14 deliveries for his 9. And Ravichandran has picked up a couple of wickets in the over. Can he just try and round this innings off? He nearly did the other day with the bat. Here's his chance with the ball now. And watchfully played. That completes a very successful over from Sabarish Ravichandran. And picks up 2 wickets in that over. 7 completed. It's 96 for the loss of 9 wickets. 44 to get in the last 3 overs. It's going to be nothing short of an absolute miracle if Cook Islands are to get there. Looks like it's going to be Makoto Taniyama. We'll have a go at the batsman to try and pick up the last of the wickets. And hasn't been lucky with the wickets column. Has bowled a pretty tight line. Hasn't conceded anything. Going under 4 in over. And still making those changes in the field. Kendall Fleming knows exactly where he wants his fielders. Has got a man at short 45 on either side of the batsman. And down the track, connects on full. It's a good learning curve for a lot of the young talent competing. Getting to play regular games. Have been heavily involved in, for the last couple of weeks, played a tri-series that involved Thailand a few days back. Has stumped him. I'm still waiting out there, but he's taken his gloves off now. And that's a tremendous victory for Japan. Good glove work by Wataru Miyachi. 97 is what Cook Islands have managed. Bowled out under 18 overs. Has been a very good bowling performance by Japan. But before that, it was the skipper who led from the front. A brilliant 60 from 46 balls for Karawick Fleming. Was very well supported by Wataru Miyachi. 37 of 38. Not significant contributions coming in from the middle order or the lower down the order. 15 extras in their 20 overs. 139 is what Japan managed. With the ball, a couple of wickets apiece for Hayden Dixon, Oscar Taylor and Corey Dixon. The skipper Mara Ave picking up a wicket as well. Had very good partnerships going, starting from the 4th wicket and onwards. With the bat, with the Cook Islands, when their turn came about, nothing significant. Thomas Parima gave a bit of a hope when he was striking the ball really well. Got 25 of 14. Quite a few batsmen getting into double digits, but not consistently enough. The contributions not coming in from the top order. 97 is what they managed inside the 18 overs. Japan were very disciplined with their bowling performance. Just 2 extras that they conceded. 2 wickets for Abdul Samad. Charlie Hara Hinds picking up 2 as well in his 2 overs. A brilliant performance from Benjamin Ito Davis. Picks up 3 for 21 from his quota of 4. Sabarish Ravichandran picking up 2 as well. And Makoto Taniyama running things off for Japan. And there you have the fall of wickets. Nothing significant in terms of the partnerships coming in from the Cook Islands side. So that's the match summary. Japan with the bat, pretty dominant from those two, Karawick Fleming and Wataru Miyachi. With the ball, Dixon, Oscar and Corey Dixon picking up 2 apiece. Cook Islands with the bat. Nothing significant in terms of the contributions. Parima getting 25, Corey Dixon 22, James Pickering 12, and Japan in the end managing to emerge victorious by 42 runs. So 2-0 is what the series scoreline looks like. There's been back-to-back games between these two sides coming to you live from the Sano International Cricket Ground here in Japan. That's the match result. Japan winning this game by 42 runs. They won the game the other day by 2 wickets. It's 2-0 to Japan in the T20I bilateral series. So that brings us to the end of this broadcast. We hope you've enjoyed as much as we have enjoyed in bringing these pictures live to you. Until we see again, this is Junaid Ahmed signing off from the commentary box.